Madam Chair Kruger, appreciate the opportunity. Tom Mungeer, New York State Troopers PBA President. It's my 11th time addressing this body, and I appreciate it. Every year I'm here asking for more equipment, more manpower, and this year is no different, more vehicles. Really hit on the crux of it. I'm not going to debate the changes that took place with bail discovery, but how it impacts my members. I'm going to disagree with my superintendent who testified earlier that he did not see a change. It definitely takes my people off the road. What used to be a simple arrest, say a DWI that took an hour administratively, now takes 4 hours. Again, there is some built-in learning curve, but not an additional 3 hours. So once you take my people off the road for that additional time, there's not troopers out there patrolling, and I represent the uniformed people out there making arrests and that you see on the roadways. So every trooper that makes an arrest and is off the road, that's one less trooper that's patrolling the communities, the roadways in New York State. And as such, I'm requesting an additional bump in manpower. Usually I'm asking for 500 additional troopers for attrition and what have you. I'm asking for an additional 100 more on top of that. That on top of other funding, I would hope that there's funding built in. I know that Senator Kruger said with the marijuana legislation, we do need the DREs. I have a little over 100, 101, I believe, trained DREs in the state. My superintendent testified he'd like to see 300. I'd actually like to up that to 400, but he's going in the right direction, which I do appreciate. And also what he didn't state, that any cannabis a scented dog that detects cannabis will have to be retired. So there's 40-some dogs that have to be retired. Don't worry, they get to go home with the dog handler and for the rest of their lives. But those dogs, that's another $350,000 that will have to come up to replace those dogs and for training. Always need cars. I heard that before. A superintendent said, you know, the cars that are over 125,000 miles, about 5%, but that's the whole pool. My patrol cars, it's about 25% are over 125,000 miles. And those are the cars that are driven 0 to 100, back down to 0 all day long. A lot of wear and tear. And that's going to be summing it up real quick, and I'll be open for questions, I guess, afterwards.
Thank you all, gentlemen, for the work all the men and women in your respective organizations do each day. I just wanted to ask about, there's, you know, one of the really tragic situations we've all seen over, you know, recent months have been law enforcement suicides. And we understand, you know, it's a very difficult job, and, you know, for whatever reason, you know, those individuals you know, made that really unfortunate choice. And I know there's a little bit of an appropriation in this budget proposal to try to address that, but what can we do as a legislature to provide adequate resources to address that problem, both in terms of funding and perhaps if there are, you know, policy changes that need to be made to help assist your members and make sure that the supports are there when they need them?
The state police has been hit hard with, unfortunately, the suicides. You have seen a spike over the last decade. And I will say this administration, headed by Superintendent Corlett, they are addressing it. They are trying to, you know, come up with, I don't want to say a solution, but help out there. Teamed with our employee assistance program, they are trying to donate or designate more resources in that direction. But as far as the legislature, you know, we'd be open for any increased funding. I couldn't sit here and put a dollar amount on it, but it's something that we definitely, as cops, you don't, you're helping people all the time, but you seem to get in a position where you don't ask for help yourself. And trying to break through that wall is the big thing. And as a 27-year trooper, I don't have the answer to that. That's up to health professionals, mental health professionals, and what have you. But it all comes down to funding and having the resources in order to you know, accomplish a better program.
We